2025 is coming to an end and 2026, well, it's just around the corner. As we approach the new year, it doesn't appear the challenges facing fleets trying to find those quality drivers will be any easier. The competition remains fierce, and there are still lots of unknowns surrounding the economy and tariffs that are causing anxiety and hesitation. But it's not just about finding drivers, right? It's about finding the right drivers. Then you have to keep them. Well, how can you do that? You need to know who the drivers are, what they want, and focus on better ways to reach, engage, and keep them. Welcome to the final 2025 edition of the Recruiting Roundup. Our episode today will wrap up our 2025 slate of episodes. But if you find yourself wanting more, never fear, you can check out our whole library of Recruiting Roundup episodes, plus a whole slew of other video content on the Randall Reilly YouTube channel or over on our site in the content section. To make sure you never miss a new video, well, make sure that while you're on YouTube, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. We'll be back with another driver recruiting or talent acquisition topic with the Recruiting Roundup next month. Now let's get back to it. Let's just dive right in with some numbers, all right? We've all heard about the driver shortage. It's estimated that the trucking industry had a shortfall of over 80,000 drivers this year, and if things continue on the same trajectory, that could increase to a six-figure deficit in the near future. But that number can be a little deceiving.
Please explain.
Because with many fleets, the major problem they're facing isn't necessarily the shortage of drivers itself. It's the battle to keep the drivers they have, especially newer drivers. Chew on this for a moment. 40% of currently employed truckers report that they are actively seeking a new driving position. That's a pretty big number. And that means that the competition between fleets to find and secure drivers is only going to intensify. And on top of that, 67% of carriers say that, well, they still want to grow their fleet within the next 12 months. Now more than ever, retention has become a crucial cog in the realm of driver recruiting. You have to do all you can to keep the drivers you have on the road. Now I'll circle back to more on retention in just a minute, but before, I want to take a brief second to focus on the drivers themselves. The average professional U.S. truck driver is 46 to 48 years old. The average new driver or trainee is 35, and the retirements are now outpacing new entrants. Trucking must go after the younger generation to avoid collapse. Millennials and Gen Z make up around half of the U.S. labor force, but are a relatively small portion of the driving workforce. We've talked on the show before about ways to increase your success by specifically going after those younger drivers and women drivers. You can check out that full ep to hear more about what we had to say on that. But we still have that pesky retention problem, right? What can you do?
You tell me.
Well, let's talk about some of those needs and expectations. Most immediately jump to pay. And to be sure, money does talk, but it's not the only thing that drivers value. For instance, 41% of drivers now want local or regional routes. Traditional OTR options are just not that attractive to today's driver. Equipment is also a hot button issue, with nearly 34% citing equipment quality as the single top retention issue. Operations and operation relations also come up quite frequently as reasons drivers choose to stay with or leave a fleet too. So what can you take from all that? Well, with a shrinking driver pool, you need to do what you can to expand the targets you go after. And as you change the drivers you pursue, you need to do what you can to change and meet their expectations. Now, you may not be able to offer everything they want, but knowing how important not only pay, but routes, equipment quality, and even operations relations can help you figure out what areas are your strengths and which are your weaknesses. Focus on what you can tweak and change to make your offerings as attractive as possible. Maybe use a platform like Stratus to figure out which areas around the country you have the best shot at landing hires with what you have to offer by being able to compare pay and benefits offered. Even just seeing the handy-dandy recruiting difficulty score can help quickly and easily set realistic expectations before you even get started. Now, to retain a driver, you must first hire a driver.
Well, obviously.
What does the data tell us about that? Where can you get better? First up is good old-fashioned speed. The probability of hiring a driver increases around 40% when you're able to get in contact with them within 5 minutes. Now that's a tall order if you stick to traditional methods, but with today's options, you can set up automatic text, employ RPO teams to help handle the load, or use a new AI option like our very own Stratus agent to help fill in the gaps and get interested parties on the phone lickety-split. So as we move out of 2025 and into 2026, grand scheme here, what's all the data telling us? Well, Recruiting is an ongoing 24/7 process. You need to have the tools and abilities to engage and reach prospects 24/7. Use the latest digital and AI tools available to you. Know that today's drivers aren't the same as what you may be used to, so you have to do what you can to prioritize what these drivers want. Invest in and take care of the equipment. It makes a big difference. If you're able to, try adjusting how you run some routes, or at the very least, know that you're in for an uphill climb if all you have to offer are the traditional OTR routes. Make pay attractive by not only increasing the number, but the stability of and transparency of the pay. Basically, the data is telling us that in order to survive this driver crunch, where we're seeing fewer and fewer drivers available, who all seem to want different things than their predecessors did, well, to survive, you're gonna have to adapt. It may not be easy, it may not be fast, but it is necessary.
When you're right, you're right.
And if you need help figuring out where you can improve and adapt your approach to meet these rapidly changing times, hey, let us know. We have a great RPO team, like I mentioned, that can work with you and integrate into your recruiting process, as well as our brand new Stratus Agent, which will allow you to take your recruiting to the next level and never miss a call again. That's just gonna about do it for us here for the year. We'll be back next month and next year with another all-new recruiting roundup. Until then, Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year's. See you next year. Thanks for watching.